Good evening all, and welcome to BB on Blast with me, Lindsay. Now, I seem to have got into the habit of doing my podcast on a Tuesday, which is quite stupid because the main episode is on a Wednesday. But I suppose it's like almost, my podcast is almost a spoiler, which is really weird because I'm used to being so behind the times. But I don't know, this just feels right. I'm not saying I'm sticking to Tuesday, but by Tuesday I've kind of thought of enough things to say by all the pieces I've kind of pulled together. So the last episode I saw was the last week's main episode on Wednesday, most of which we've already discussed, but I suppose notable was Monte saying Justin steals his clothes, he's been shot at. Justin wasn't too happy. He said this was very derogative, which I think you'll agree it was. Then Justin calls out Monte and said, "I heard what you said about me, motherfucker," which I liked. And then Justin went out in the garden. He was like lifting weights and praying to Jesus. And he said it's a racial issue. And then Caleb, aka Monte, don't need to know his name anymore, said we're all under the same sun. Oh, that's nice. And he also said, Monte, this is, I'm good looking and good with people. Then Chrissy was disappointed to be a pawn. We'll get used to it because you're a pawn this week, don't you? So then Monte got evicted. He went out with his head held high. Didn't say fuck you all, which I completely missed. When Cornbread went, that's good though, isn't it? I admire going out and saying fuck you all. Fuck y'all. Oh God, Monte's eviction. Jesus. They seem to have got rid of the endurance task this year. I think they've just made the interviews the endurance tasks. Like, fucking hell. Proper masochism. Monte looked a bit weird. Like, he looked like he had hives and he had one eye on Dip, one on Dazzle. I think he said something about racism against white people. White people, especially men, are very discriminated against. And he said praise and blame is all the same, which I thought was quite nice. Something you might get in a fortune cookie. And then Monte said, best of luck to all the candidates. I hope everyone plays a good, clean, stroke, dirty game. Well, make you mind it. He was basically being like a real creep. Not creep, but he was like on his best behaviour. It reminded me of like when Jay Goody came at the house on CBB after racially abusing Shilpa. It was like cowed, you know. It wasn't Monte's real opinion that he felt bad for things he'd said in the house. It was that someone had told him, you should feel bad about this and like backtrack. But it's not like anyone's watching this show anyway, so you could pretty much say exactly what you like, do what you like, just go on the rampage, no one will ever know. It's perfectly fine. Well, Julie was giving it all yes ma'am and all this crap. Yeah, bollocks. I've written the integrity of the game is shot. I'm not sure if that relates to Monte's interview or something else. That's what happens when you read your notes from a week ago. So the next HOH comp was something to do with a barcode. I've put cheap ass. And measuring a barcode. I have no recollection of this whatsoever. I think I was drunk when I watched this episode. It wasn't even an episode. I was drunk and the episode's like 5 minutes long. Like, how the fuck do you expect me to remember what happened? Do you remember that? I can't remember. Anyway, Scott won. Boo! It was at this point that I decided how much I fucking hate Scott's voice. Something about the tone of his voice. I don't know where he comes from. No offence to anyone who comes from his area. I'm sure you don't sound anything like him. But there's just something about the tone of his voice that really just rubs me up the wrong way. It's like, if you ever watched Big Brother Canada, Arlie, I think it was season 2. Yeah, it was season 2. Just the sound of his voice proper puts me on edge. And Scott's is right up there. And it's not just his voice, is it? Let's be honest. He's like, ugh, he's disgusting. Also, this like Mean Girls Alliance, whatever they're called, the plastics, like, I was going to say they know America's not on their side, so why don't they change up their game? But actually, America went after Danielle this week, so what do I know? Oh yeah, so the Plastics called themselves the Ball Smashers. Is that okay? Does that pass the FCC check? Probably, because it's not even on TV. And they said they're the Ball Smashers and they're Virgin King Scott. Oof. So Scott decided he wanted to put Shane and Danielle up, which is fine by me because they're dull as fuck. The only notable thing about Shane is he needs his haircut. And the only notable thing about Danielle is I think a lot of people seem to hate Danielle, but I don't really know why. Like, I've heard people on other podcasts and stuff say, like, oh, she's playing the game too hard, she's doing this shit. I've not seen her do it. The only thing I've seen her do is, like, frig off with Shane on a trampoline. That's about it. I've put Shane as wearing pedal pushers here. That's not good. Scott drinking Diet Coke is less sexy than John McCrick drinking Diet Coke. Strong words from myself there that I forgot even writing. Oh, this is so annoying. On a little live feed, but I have watched some other live feed this week, by the way. And although admittedly not much, I've probably watched about 3 or 4 hours, which is quite pathetic, really. I'll try and watch some more this week. I've just not really had time. But yeah, on the live feed, it's so annoying. The housemates are basically trying to all cut a deal with America. They're like, oh, America, will you do this for us? Will you do that for us? It's so annoying. It's like, I'm so tired of hearing them talk about America. It's like the fourth wall has been trampled upon and I don't like it. Jason was complaining about people not doing the housework, and he said, I used to live with strippers and even they knew how to clean up after themselves. That's a bit rude. Scott, I noticed, as well as his horrible voice, disgusting face, awful personality, was wearing Crocs, which I forgot what Crocs were called. Apparently they're coming back in this season. I read it in the Heat magazine. Make of that what you will. But yeah, I forgot what Crocs are called, and BB Moes reminded me, you need to listen to their podcast. It's BBMOES, and they're 2 American gay fellas. Very funny. If you like this, why would you? In fact, forget this. Just go listen to theirs. It's funny. I was like, if you like this, you might like that. No, it's cool. It had like a spirit of, like, you know, our podcast. So, yeah, you know what I mean. Jason. Wait, oh yeah, this is off BB Moes. This is a good advertisement for them. They told a story about how Jason said on the live feed that he once went down on a blind girl. And I thought that's a good story, because you wouldn't expect Jason to go down on a girl full stop, let alone a blind girl. So that's the sort of stuff you hear on their podcast. If you want to listen to it, I think it's pretty funny. They didn't even sponsor me for that. I just think they're cool. So then Scott was going about nominating Shane and Danielle again. Yeah. Shelby says she wants to work around America's nomination. I'm like, although they did work around it this week because Danielle got nominated, like, it's quite a lot to take on the whole of America, isn't it, in your alliance? Like, even if you are called the Ball Smashers, it's like, just look at Hillary Clinton. She's struggling. I don't know. I would personally work with America and, like, kiss their ass a little bit more and hope for the best. If you noticed, everyone evicted so far has been a man. That's good. And there was more women in there in the first place, so I'm liking the positive discrimination. Morgan was crying over a jar of pickles. I can't remember why. Was it because she's a have-not? Nene went up to campaign to Scott, and she said, I don't think she said this directly to Scott, probably in the DR, about Alex. I want that heifer gone. It's a bit strong. I don't think Alex is even overweight, let alone a heifer. Well, I do like the divide in the house, though. It's like a kind of like a good old-fashioned, like, friendship versus, what's Janelle's team called? It's like that, isn't it? It's like old school, but then you got America involved, pot stirring, and that ruins it. But like, the thought is there that it is like one side versus the other, which is always nice. Oh yeah, Scott got the care package, and I was thinking, why the fuck would America give Scott the care package? And then I realised it was like it wasn't a good thing for him. It was like a a don't care package. I think I've used that before, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I'll go into what that was a bit later, because I wrote down what the different types of veto was that he got. I noticed on the highlight shows, they've got rid of that guy who goes previously on Big Brother, which is annoying. I quite like that. But I think bring him back, if anything. On Rob Has a Podcast, Glenn, who went out first in BB-18, said you weren't allowed to smoke on BB-18, which I thought was interesting, because imagine Jason in there not smoking. So I finally got to see some of the longer diary room sessions, and I just want to say thanks to Dr. Detroit, because he hooked me up with some decent high definition diary room sessions and the latest veto comp. So it's good, because it's given me more of a picture on what the hell is actually going on, although still I'm flaying around in the dark. So from the diary rooms, here's what I've concluded, and I watched all the diary rooms that have been shown so far. Shane is really camp. I think Justin versus Monte, their whole beef, reminded me of like Tim Dormer in BB Australia versus Ed, because Ed was like always saying like he's the nice person, I'm a gentleman, blah blah blah, but in reality it was Tim who was like the nice genuine person, and that's what Justin is like, the cool person, whereas Monty's like, oh, he's sexist, he's doing this, he's doing that, and it's actually, no Monty, you're the one who runs over squirrels, so shut the fuck up. Justin's DR's lush. Justin's like going about Jason, we click clack like we've been best friends forever. I love that. He said Christy was hella cool, and he likes Whitney because she folded his drawers for him. He said Shelby was fake. Yep, she is fake because she's a lawyer pretending to be waitress. And this is weird. Then they do this like questions to the house thing where I think Julie Julie like stands there and asks them. I think Julie actually is there for that bit because she talks to them. So unless it's a very sophisticated piece of programming and they've just programmed many different answers and bits of banter in between, I think she was actually there for that bit, which is weird. I liked when Justin said, you dig, to Julie. Shane said, expect the unexpected. Yep, he knows what's going down. The diary session thing is weird though. Like, for those who don't know, basically they each have like 10 minutes in the diary room and they get asked a set of 10 questions, and they're very fixed questions each week. I think it's the same questions each week. It seemed to be to me. And they go, basically the housemates have to read out their own questions. It's not like on BBUK when there's a few of them in the room and it's a bit of fun. It's like really weird. It's like, then it's like you have 2 minutes left and they have to answer the questions. I don't know, it's really weird. And the whole thing is fake ass because they're all like trying to get America on saying, oh, America, can you do this? America, I don't know, it's weird. I like it, but I just don't like the way it's like an hour and a half long and it's, you have to skip through loads of people like Whitney and Shane and Danielle. Boring. That's what happened in the second one. Oh yeah, I've put can't they cut the silences out because it's like it's a person sitting in a chair. It's like, can you sit in the middle of the chair? It's like, oh, it's really dry. Justin said in the second sessions, the people he can trust is looking pretty meagre. He called out all brown nosers, which is a classic Big Brother. He's saying America, baby. I prefer it if you talk about America if you call them baby afterwards. And he also said, I've got my lawnmower and I'm about to cut the grass. That's good. And he said he's got his cooking strategy on lockdown. You can't argue with that. Just ask Vinnie Jones. Alex, I know people have said stuff about her diary room. In fact, I've heard loads of podcasts slagging off Alex's diary rooms, but I didn't think she was that bad as what people said, because I heard them slagging her off before I saw her diary room. She's quite shrill. Her sister's shrill as well. I've written here, I love Jason, Justin, Chrissy and Neely as they all have life experiences and pop culture references. Well, so in the last set of DRs I watched, Morgan looks really old. She looks like a pageant mum. She wears too much makeup. I know she's trying to wear a lot of makeup to look different to Alex, but still. Morgan said, I'm notorious for word vomit. I think she apologised to her mum for inventing the ball smashers. I thought Morgan actually came across quite well. Jason said his strategy was cleaning. These people are like mongrels. And Jason said, America is my tightest ally. True that. I'm tired of Jason getting all the rewards, although I do want Jason to stay.